Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, I'm Charles Woolfork, and this is where I talk about mental and emotional release process, mental and emotional release technique, where it is the best technique in processing your emotions and your limiting beliefs and your insecurities, and not just helping you process them, but releasing them into the ether, into the universe, and freeing up some of that space for you to instead have better feelings about yourself and about the world around you. Now, before we get into anger and how we can process anger and why we should process anger and what anger is and everything, I want to go ahead and let you know about my mother. And my mother is by far the strongest woman that I know. She's beat cancer twice, and she helped my brother go through chemo and radiation for his cancer at the age of 4. And when he went through it again, when he was 22 years old, until the day he passed away. Shout out to my brother, Chris Woolfork, legend to this day. I'll talk to you more about him later on. But what about my mom? She's so strong-willed. And what my mom would do is she wouldn't look at me as Charles Woolfork, the teacher of middle school and high school students, Charles Woolfork, the NLP and life coach. No, she would look at me as, her son, her baby, Charles. And that would really tick me off, So one time, I was like, you know what? I got to address this problem. I have to address this problem because something within me was really, really stirring up about it. And I was like, you know what? I need to just set my boundaries. I need to set my boundaries and do what's right. So one time I got on the phone with my mom and she said, you're my child. And boom, I knew that was my chance right there. And what I had to say to her was also something familiar with what I also had to say to myself when it came to my father. Now, I'd never met my father before in my life, okay? He and my mom got into it before I was born, and he split. So I never got to see him before. In fact, the only way that I even know what he looks like is because my mom told me his name, and then I went and researched, went back to his high school and got his high school pics. How crazy is that? So I never met my father before, and it always used to bug me on why he left. And I took it personally. This man took it personally for what someone else did. I was like, man, he must have left because I wasn't lovable. He must have left because he's just a bad person. He's a bad person. I can't believe that he left my mom, my family. I never got a birthday card. I never got a Christmas card. I've lived in the same place. My mom lived in the same place for years. He knew where I lived. And all these emotions came up for me. And one day, I knew I had to address this problem because I knew it was going to cause issues for me in my life, with myself, but also everybody that I deal with. And what I had to say to myself, ladies and gentlemen, was something to do about what we're talking about today. And that's anger. See, anger, why should we release anger from within ourselves and be able to process anger correctly or in an effective way, but we don't feel it anymore? And with mental and emotional release, we can change our perspective upon things in a subconscious and unconscious way to where we take out triggers of anger. So why should we do that? Why should we process anger in a different way? Well, the state of Victoria government in Australia says that anger can really affect you in a horrible way. It can give you headaches, digestive problems such as abdominal pain, insomnia, increased anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, skin problems such as eczema, and also it can lead to a heart attack. Have you ever met guys that are just so anger-filled that they mess around and have a heart attack? I've known plenty of people like that. High blood pressure. I mean, their face is always boiling. Like people that are pissed off all the time, they need those ways to process that anger so they don't feel that anymore, so they can just live a happier life. And it can even lead to a stroke. I mean, it's so bad for your health to hold on to that anger within you. It shows up in so many different ways. And what are some of the positive reasons? Why should you release anger for positive reasons? And well, it can encourage empathy on how you feel, or it can help you put yourself in someone else's shoes to find empathy and even compassion. It can create strong bonds so you don't have those negative triggers anymore. You can effectively talk to someone and make those bonds even stronger so you can be vulnerable with that person and somebody can be vulnerable with you. You can also develop better self-understanding. So you can find, like I said, an empathy and compassion and that self-understanding that whatever that person has done to piss you off, well, you've been there before as well. You've probably gone through the same thing and done some of the same things as well. And also, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that makes you so angry? And that self-understanding is very, very important. Also, you can foster better judgment, not blow up at people for the wrong reasons. And also, when you make things in an emotional, like make different choices in an emotional way, it's never the right choice. You feel me? And also, you build communication skills. You're able to talk to someone in a cool, calm, and collective manner. And also, it helps you reduce stress, which nowadays during this COVID, everybody needs to be able to reduce that stress. You feel me? In the Mayo Clinic, the infamous, or well, not infamous, but the well-known Mayo Clinic also says that when you release anger or have anger management skills, and what I'm talking about here is not anger management. I'm talking about getting rid of those triggers that you have for anger. I'm talking about emotional triggers, different habits that you have that seem to come naturally, to just making sure that you don't feel that anymore. So the Mayo Clinic said about anger management, but we can go deeper into that. It says that you can communicate your needs and learn how to recognize and talk about things that frustrate you rather than letting your anger flare up. You know what I mean? So instead of having something that really ticks you off and is constantly on your mind, you can get past that. You can get past that and you can move on to something further. You know what I mean? You can really communicate how you feel to someone about something. And then once you get past that, you build a stronger bond of communication, like I said earlier, and you can be vulnerable with somebody, which makes you that much more authentic, and it kind of reproduces it over and over again once you get good results. Also, you can maintain better health that we were talking about earlier, from all those symptoms that was coming from the government of Victoria. You can also prevent psychological and social problems linked to anger. I mean, it's always about mindset. It's always about mindset when it comes to anger. And the things that tick you off, they don't have to. And therefore, you don't have to be, you don't have to spread that negative energy around people. I mean, they don't have it on here for the Mayo Clinic, but energetically, it's way better too. You don't want to carry that negative, heavy energy of anger around with you as well. You can also use your frustrations to get things done. You know what I mean? Instead of finding something that is able to hold you back because of anger, have it drive you, have it fuel you to make a better world and to make a better situation for yourself. And also you can help avoid addictive escapes like drugs, alcohol, relationships that are toxic, you feel me? Or just trying to escape, all that type of escapism through television or social media, So that's why we should get rid of anger, because of all those wonderful reasons, but also the reasons that mess with your health. So what is anger? Well, the American Psychological Association says anger is an emotion characterized by antagonism towards someone or something you feel has deliberately done you wrong. It can give you a way to express negative feelings, for example, or motivate you to find solutions to problems. Which I don't necessarily want to do. I don't want to do things that are, like me personally, I find doing things out of joy is better than doing things out of anger. However, there's always the analogy of the apartheid, the anti-apartheid movement. See, there's Winnie Mandela, and then there's Nelson Mandela. Seemed like Winnie Mandela was driven off of rage and frustration and anger and a more aggressive, abrasive type of energy. when Nelson Mandela, he was more based on compassion, care, community, just love. It seemed like he was forgiveness. It's a totally different type of energy. I'd rather go from the energy that Nelson had personally than the energy that Winnie had. Besides, when it comes to the movement, both were very vital. I'm not going to say that either one was not needed, but what I will say that a lot more people know Nelson Mandela than they know Winnie Mandela. You feel me? Let's keep moving on. So, what is anger? Psychology Today says that anger is related to the fight, flight, or freeze response of the sympathetic nervous system. It prepares humans to fight, but fighting doesn't necessarily mean throwing punches. It might motivate communities to combat injustice by changing laws or enforcing new behavioral norms. I mean, a lot of people are angry about what's going on as of right now. I mean, this is a time in 2020 where a lot of people are paying attention to the wrongs that have been done for different minorities of all kinds, and that anger is fueling people to go out and protest and speak their minds and organize with one another, and that can definitely be a way to make a change. And I know that when people were angry and looting or being opportunistic in looting, so I guess that's not necessarily anger, but I know the riots, that brings an element to an argument that can be used against protests, instead of looking at how peaceful protests with the anger, but it's a controlled anger, and an organized anger that has people mobilizing, that can definitely be effective. So yeah. I mean, that's a great definition by Psychology Today. And the Mayo Clinic, once again, the Mayo Clinic, says anger is a natural response to perceived threats. Once again, a natural response to perceived threats. It causes your body to release adrenaline, your muscles to tighten, and your heart rate and blood pressure to increase. Your senses might feel more acute, and your face and hands flushed. All right, so all those different definitions of anger and how they can be used for you and against you, and even some of the things that they do naturally within your body, which is release that adrenaline, cortisol, and those things that really are good for you. And I'll go over some of those things and how anger helps, or it hurts the immune system in the long run. So all in all, we know why anger should be released and why you should be able to not just, manage your anger, but also just get rid of it. But then now we know what anger is, what the root of like anger is. It's those frustrations that you have. It's those feelings that you need to fight, flight, or freeze. And it's also like something that antagonizes you, you know? So how does MER help people with anger issues? Well, in previous videos, I've actually showed you all the process of mental and emotional release. And first and foremost, what it can do is help you with forgiveness. It can help you look at a situation from a third person point of view with your meditation. And once you look at a situation and you find the learnings from that situation from a third person point of view, you forgive a person for whatever they have done that may have made you angry. And of course, you have my different cues. My different cues for forgiveness and compassion are that hurt people. And usually people don't even realize that they're hurting when they do something that may anger you or that may make you feel any type of way. And then you have, we're all doing the best that we can with the resources and consciousness that we have. So, some people, they just don't have a consciousness that you may have, and they don't have the experiences that you have. They don't have the resources in general that you may have. They only have what they have, and they're doing the best that they can with what they have. And with them working with what they have, sometimes, it may piss you off. It may rub you the wrong way. But to forgive that person for that because they don't know any better is something that you find within mental and emotional release process. Also, you have that we can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser. Once again, we can't control anyone else's actions, but we can control our response. We can grow stronger and wiser. And that's just, taking responsibility upon what we did in the past with situations that made us mad, but also how we can respond now and how we could have responded back then with the consciousness that we have now. You know what I mean? And also, we're better people than we used to be. We're better people than we used to be in that event. And that's just what it is. Hopefully our consciousness has risen and we're better people and we've grown since that situation. And if that other person hasn't, then definitely you probably have. If you're watching this video, you've definitely grown during that time. So there's not just forgiveness, but there's always compassion that comes from this process of mental and emotional release. So with mental and emotional release, it's a guided meditation that helps you look at things from a third person point of view. So taking you out of your body and taking you over an event that you remember from the past. So instead of looking at a memory through your own eyes, so a first person point of view, you're looking at it from above, like you're watching it in like a glass case. You know what I mean? And just watching everything that unfolds. And as you meditate on that event and focus on the true learnings from that event, that's when you start to release things. That's when you start to release things. And it just releases one after the other. So if there's any different memory that you have, you focus on that memory. Why did it make you mad? Focus on those 4 things that I just mentioned, those 4 quotes, and get the learning from it, get the compassion, get the forgiveness, and you release that anger or any other negative emotion. And also you see things from a different perspective. And that at the core is what mental and emotional release does. It helps you see things from a different perspective in a subconscious way. So when something that used to make you mad now occurs, it doesn't have that same trigger. It doesn't have that same response, that same natural response that you used to have. It's kind of like taking a stick of dynamite and then taking the wick and then throwing it away. So now the dynamite isn't even explosive anymore. You feel me? So with mental and emotional release, it's the best way to help people get rid of those negative emotions, limiting beliefs. It's fast, it's easy, and it's effective. I've never had any of my clients say that it didn't work. So I hope you hit me up and try it out. So with my father and how he was never around, how he never did anything for me, how I never met the guy, what I had to say to him in my mind was, I don't know what he's going through, but whatever he's going through is probably heavy. And, we've all done some things out of negative emotions like fear or anger. And I don't know what he went through, so I can't judge that man. But what I do know is that he helped the world because I'm a blessing. I'm more of a blessing than ever before, right now more than ever. Me as a teacher, I help the kids, and me as a life coach. And making this video right here, I help people out there with their emotional pains and do what they can in order to help themselves. So I thank them. I thank them for being a part of this process in the universe. And also with my mom, my mom's a stubborn woman. And she just looked at me as a baby. I'm not a baby anymore. You know what I mean? And I knew that our relationship would be so much better, that everything would be better if I would have just tell her how I felt. So swallow. I just took a deep breath and I told my mom, like, look, Mom, I'm not a child anymore. Okay? I'm a man. And I'm a man that you raised, that you helped raise in such an amazing way. And I wanted to make sure that you see me that way. And nothing else is going to change about our relationship except that you're going to be able to see me in a light that you've never had before. And we can go deeper and deeper into something stronger than we've ever had. And now my mom and I are friends. And now my mom and I have gone to such high levels of trust. And I look forward to building a beautiful company with my mom and a future that we never could have imagined when I was a little kid. And I just want to thank you for watching this video. And with that, have a wonderful day. Once again, please like and subscribe. And you guys take care of yourself and take care of one another. Peace.